Happy Trans Day of Visibility, everybody. And also, very much less importantly, Happy Easter. That's right. This year, Trans Day of Visibility, the last day of March every year, has fallen on Easter Sunday. And I'm sure I don't have to tell you how the right has responded to this. Now, under normal circumstances, the right would just be having, like, maybe a little bit of a meltdown, but it goes even further than that. Because Biden has declared that today, the last day of March, will be the day of transgender visibility. Or Transgender Day of Visibility. I'm calling it the Day of Transgender Visibility, though. That feels much more... It rolls off the tongue for me a lot better, in my opinion. And not only that, but Biden has outright backed, in a very loud way, much louder than he really has before, though he has very much backed trans people, backed up trans rights. This is a loud trans rights from Biden. We're also coming out of... we're also in the early days of a ceasefire in Gaza, for those that don't know, that was headed by Biden and the U.S. So despite that, we're still seeing the right protesting, or not the right, the left protesting Biden, because no matter what Biden or the Democrats do, the bar will never, ever be reached.
Welcome back to Politics Nation. Let's bring in tonight's political panel.
I like this guy.
Former Republican Congressman Dave Jolly of Florida and Michael Hardaway, former staffer to House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and Senator Dick Durbin. David, let's start with you. President Biden is being criticized by some on the right for recognizing today as both Easter Sunday and Transgender Day of Visibility. The Trump campaign called on the White House to issue an apology. The Trump camp also criticized the Biden White House for not allowing overtly religious egg designs for the Easter art event, which Politico points out it has been that way under every president since 1976, including...
I love when it's like, Biden did this horrible thing. No, it's been like that under every president since 1976.
Under Donald Trump. House Republican Speaker Mike Johnson joined in on social media, calling Biden's decision, quote, outrageous and abhorrent. Why are Republicans choosing this battle?
It's really funny to me that the right, like, once again, this kind of leads back to the previous segment I was doing, talking about Christian nationalism and how crazy, hyper-religious, like, by the word of the Bible, like, Christians in particular are. Now, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of other crazy religious fanatics, but this is America, and Christians have a pretty strong stranglehold on everything here. They're the biggest threat, I would say, as far as religious extremism goes, even bigger than like Islamic extremism, I would say. And so, with that in mind, we need to remember that these people do not operate within a worldview where other people's opinions are opinions, right? For these people, their opinions about, like, whether God exists and if, like, you should follow what God tells you to, these opinions, to them, are fact. And what other people have are not opinions, or even wrong opinions to them. They're blasphemous, evil, corrupting, degrading views. This ranges from everything to support for gay people and trans people, which they believe is inherently predatory and destructive to children and our society as a whole, to the existence of any form of secularism in our government or schools or our society. They see secularism as a dangerous thing because for them, if people live a secular lifestyle, they'll live a lifestyle so free that they won't generally want to choose religion. There aren't a lot of secular to truly religious, like, converts. It's not very common. There are a whole lot more religious to secular converts, though. So in that case, the Republicans are desperate to try to make more young religious people. And a big part of that involves decrying any attempt to legitimize identities that religious fundamentalists consider inherently invalid on a federal level. Biden doing this is powerful. The left may not see it as much because the left wants to discount Biden at every turn, but to the Republicans, they recognize how powerful of a statement this is to federally recognize the validity of trans people as not just a class of people, but a marginalized class of people that needs visibility and, like, attention and support.
As a way to take on the president.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure, Rev, to be honest. I mean, there's a little bit of dirty political pool here, but I think we got to hit it head on and suggest to President Trump and Mike Johnson and Senator Blackburn and others who are relying on the words of their Christ and their Jesus they celebrate today to condemn Joe Biden, to suggest to them that actually the Jesus they celebrate today would be inclusive of the transgendered community and would be supportive of the transgendered community.
Listen. You can't ever expect American Christians to do anything Christ-like. But what are you talking about? Thinking American Christians would do something that Jesus would do? That's all just slogans and bullshit to make themselves feel better.
Community and command all Christians, including Donald Trump, Mike Johnson, and others who celebrate today, that in fact they should love the transgendered community as they love their own God. I am not sure the theology upon which they rely to criticize Joe Biden. I would say politically it's stupid because among the 5 to 10% of actual persuadable voters, part of their concern about today's Republican Party is exactly this behavior. Why would you use time politically, if you are Republicans, to celebrate that you want to condemn and exclude fellow Americans, that you do not want to...
Well, Republicans and conservatives overall are fundamentally delusional. And a lot of these right-wing politicians are grifters. They don't care about the Republican Party winning. They care about just them winning because they're able to win over a very hyper-supportive base that gets them, like, notoriety, book deals, like a media show in alt media where they can make a few million and then retire. Like, a lot of these Republican politicians doing this, like, career party-destroying stuff with, like, cracking down on abortion, gay rights, trans rights, etc., like internet porn. These are not people who have any concern about re-election or the long-term viability of the Republican Party. These are grifters who are just playing to a base, a hyper-radical base, to get as much attention as possible so that they can grift off of it.
Provide equity and equality to all people, because that is essentially the message that was received by millions of Americans today. And I think it's wrong theologically, it's wrong morally, and it's absolutely stupid politically.
Michael, this day of awareness for trans Americans has been recognized since 2010, and the last time it overlapped with Easter.
Whoa, hold on. I'm pretty sure transgenders were invented in 2016 when Caitlyn Jenner came out as trans. Excuse me.
It was in 2013, so this is not new. The White House Deputy Press Secretary Andrew Bates responded to Republicans saying, quote, "It's unsurprising politicians are seeking to divide and weaken our country with cruel, hateful, and dishonest rhetoric. President Biden will never abuse his faith for political purposes or for profit."
Yeah, remember, Biden is a Catholic, by the way. Like a practicing Catholic.
Quote. Now, that's in referring to Trump selling his $60 Bibles. What's the best strategy in your judgment for the Biden?
That is... Holy shit. I really hope Christians are right about God existing, because that's a sin. I swear it's got to be a sin to, like, sell $60 Trump brand Bibles. That's got to be a sin. Monetizing the good book?
And
those are supposed to be free.
These exaggerated culture war scandals, which seem to crop up on almost a daily basis.
Well, you can't fall for the red herring, which is clearly what this is. House Republicans and Speaker Johnson have no record to run on. They've presided over a disaster over the past year or so. You have constant threat of government shutdown. And on the other side, Donald Trump is facing 90-plus indictments across multiple states. He's got a...
That makes Trump a false prophet. Source, am Christian. Thank you.
Litany of crimes he's addressing. And so
Trump is a
this
literal
is
false
simply
prophet.
designed to change that conversation. If
Accurate.
you're President Biden and you're the White House, you cannot fall for this sham. Whenever you're asked about this particular story, you have to head back, specifically outlining what's at stake, what Donald Trump has done, what House Republicans have not done, and you have.
I just really want to congratulate Jesus Christ on her transition. There's been no name change yet, so I'm not dead naming. She's still trying to figure out what name she's going to go by now. But I really do appreciate and support her. And so Jesus Christ transition, I hope it goes very well.
You have to over and over and over again tell that story. You cannot be wasting time responding to these ridiculous questions and ridiculous stories over and over again.
Jessica Christ, that goes so hard. Listen, right-wing Christians can shit on Biden as much as they want for this. And a good example of it, actually, is this fucking hilarious tweet. I love this. Joe Biden declares Easter Sunday Transgender Day of Visibility. If this is true, these people are sick, twisted, and committed to destroying America's values and way of life. God help us. So I hit him with the, Biden hit them with the, no God, the only man in the sky is me, Homelander. Main character and the hero of the hit television show The Boys, as all conservatives know quite well. On top of that, like, conservatives are doing this shit, all the while, Donald Trump is not a good Christian. Can we make that very clear? Like, Donald Trump is very much not a good Christian. Hold on. Donald Trump favorite Bible verse. Hey, chat. I want you to imagine, like, have you ever asked somebody if they've seen a show, movie, or read a book before that, like, upon asking them about it, they very quickly reveal that they've never seen or like, they know nothing about it, and they're being super unspecific and vague, and it's clear they lied to you in saying they've seen it? Imagine how people act and what they say in that situation. And then watch this clip of Trump after being asked what his favorite verse from the Bible is, after saying it's his favorite book.
Okay. You mentioned the Bible. You've been talking about how it's your favorite book, and you said, I think last night in Iowa, some people are surprised that you say that. I'm wondering what one or two of your most favored Bible verses are, and why.
I wouldn't want to get into it because to me that's very personal. You know, when I talk about the Bible, it's very personal, so I don't want to get into verses. I don't want to get into.
There's no verse that means a lot to you that you think about or cite.
The Bible means a lot to me, but I don't want to get into specifics.
Even to cite a verse that you like.
No, I don't want to do that.
You're an Old Testament guy or a New Testament guy?
Probably equal. I think it's just an incredible. The whole Bible is an incredible. I joke. Very much so. They always hold up the Art of the Deal. I say my second favorite book of all time. But I just think the Bible is just something very special.
Okay. You mentioned the Bible.
Oh, man. Trump on gay rights. This is back when Donald Trump was pretending to be pro-gay. The whole gays for Trump thing. Who remembers that? How can you not, like... How can you claim to be a Christian and not even think of a single Bible quote? Like, if you grew up around religion, you'd surely, like, pick up on one, right? Surely? I don't know. If I were there, I would have been like, all right, I'm telling you, my favorite verse from the Bible would have to be when Samson went and he killed all those guys by collapsing that entire Colosseum. That was great. I really liked that bit. That was really funny to me. I found that the more death there is in the Bible, the funnier it is to me. Those are my favorite verses. He could have said that, and his supporters would not have cared. He could have at least talked about part of the Bible. I don't know. It's hilarious to me how conservatives are touting this guy as their great white Christian hope. And if you think I'm like exaggerating there, that's Jesse Lee Peterson, who calls Donald Trump, and I quote, the great white hope.